Hi guys, welcome to Wrestling Retrospective, and in this video I will be reviewing Money in the Bank. So first up was the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. It was won by Liv Morgan. She defeated Shotzi, Lacey Evans, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Asuka and Raquel Rodriguez to become the new Miss Money in the Bank. I enjoyed this match a lot, to be fair. I found it very entertaining from the ladder spots, and there was even some technical wrestling parts in with Asuka competing with Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch at the start and in the middle of the match, which I really enjoyed. I think it's worth mentioning Chelsea. I think the botches, in my opinion, they didn't massively affect the match. No one got hurt, anything like that. And the fact that she owned it on social media made it even better. I think all the people that are kind of beating her up about it, it's just not worth it. These things happen, a bad day at the office, and there's no need to attack her and say she should be fired and stuff on social media, because it's just bullying. It's horrible to say that to someone. Some other bits that I really enjoyed was Liv's powerbomb on Lacey Evans from the ladder. I thought it looked brutal. I at first thought Lacey had landed on her head, which just looked horrible. And also, Shotzi did a senton on the ladder and smacked the back of her head on this ladder, and it looked awful. And it did pan back to her later in the match, and you could see that she was visibly bleeding from the back of the head, but it had come to the front of her face. So I do hope she's okay with that. But what a moment for Liv Morgan getting the win. I think she fully deserves it 100%. I've been a fan of hers for quite a few years. They made the documentary about her, and I feel like it's all been leading up to this. The only thing I do worry about is her cashing in on the same night. As soon as it was announced that the women's ladder match was going to go on first, I straight away thought that she was going to cash in on the night, or at least on Raw the next day, because for whatever reason the women can't hold Money in the Bank for longer than 24 hours. 4 of the last 5 holders have cashed it in either on the night or on the Raw afterwards, and it doesn't make sense why they do this. The fact that Carmella is the longest reigning with the Money in the Bank, but yet no one's held it for longer than a week yet, apart from Carmella, is unbelievable. I don't know why they don't try and incorporate it into a storyline or anything like that. But yet with the men, they'll have it carry on for ages, to a point where they give it to the wrong person and the storyline for them kind of runs out, like they did with Otis a few years ago. But yeah, as I said, great match overall. Loved Liv's moment, and as I said, I'm hoping she's not going to cash in on the same night, but it wouldn't surprise me if she did, and I'd be kind of disappointed if she did. But again, for her to win a championship, hopefully, if she does cash in, would be even better. So, next up, we have Bobby Lashley defeat Austin Theory, or just Theory, to become the new United States champion. I didn't have a lot to say about this one. It was a pretty bang average match, in fairness. Bobby controlled for the most part. When Theory did get the upper hand, he was using awesome heel tactics to carry on getting the best of Bobby. And also he was using good power moves as well, something that I wasn't expecting in the match to take Bobby down, like with big clotheslines or lariats. And William Regal explained the difference on AW, and I still can't remember what the difference is. But either way. But yeah, I thought Lashley's transition from Theory's finisher into a hurt lock was really good. I think Theory tapping out probably wasn't the best idea, didn't make him look very strong. But it makes sense. He did tap out very quickly as well, which didn't make any sense to me. It's still like he very quickly gave in, which kind of made him look weak as well. But as I said, overall, pretty bang average match. Wasn't a bad match in any sense of the word. It was good, but pretty bang average, quite even. And then we have a new United States champion. Following that, we had Bianca Belair defending the Raw Women's Championship against Carmella. I thought this was a decent match. These two seemed to have really great chemistry together. Obviously, they did work it together quite a lot last year on SmackDown. But this was a nice improvement on those matches. I genuinely enjoyed this one. I would say that Carmella kind of showboats too much and talks a lot of smack, but I think that's within her character, which kind of doesn't annoy me as much as it would if it was somebody else. Bianca, again, throughout, showed what a phenomenal athlete she is. She has Carmella up in a suplex position and marched around for quite a while, like in a suplex position, which was really impressive just to see that feat of strength. One thing I've started to notice with Bianca Belair matches is if she's fighting a kind of arrogant and cocky heel, they'll start using the EST words against Belair, like they'll say that I'm the best, I'm the this and the that, and then you'll see Belair kind of hulk up and kind of get the upper hand, hit the KOD and get the win. I find that, I don't know, it's not a thing, it just makes the match more predictable when the finish is going to be. I feel like they could have made Carmella probably a bit more of a threat to Belair, but they did only have 2 weeks build up, and I thought the build up that they did for just 2 weeks was actually pretty good, to be fair. With Carmella's attack after the match, I feel like that leaves this feud open in case Rhea Ripley isn't medically cleared for SummerSlam. I feel like Rhea Ripley is definitely going to get her women's title match that she earned, but when that'll be will depend on when she's feeling better from this brain injury. But it's good that they're keeping this one open. I feel like if they could add a stipulation to it, if they were to have a match at SummerSlam, maybe like an Extreme Rules match or a Falls Count Anywhere, one where like weapons can be used, which would then make Carmella more worried about risking her looks, kind of thing. So like there was always like Carmella's got her looks to lose, and Belair has her title to lose, kind of thing. I feel like that would add some jeopardy to the match, and yeah, I think that would just be a really good fit for these two. Or if Rhea Ripley is ready for SummerSlam, I think Ripley and Belair will have a great match at SummerSlam, if that's possible. But whenever they get to have this match, they had a great match at NXT TakeOver Portland, so hopefully when Rhea gets back they can put on a barn burner again. But yeah, Belair retains the Raw Women's Championship. So next up, the Usos defended the Undisputed Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits. I thought this was a brilliant match. I did think the first half was very slow. However, I felt like they were trying to do a Roman Reigns match, which I think was a really good harken back to Roman Reigns. And it made sense with the Bloodline being together so long that they would take kind of Roman's style in match almost. So that was really good. But the second match is when this turned into a complete tag team classic, and it was really, really good. The fast pace tags, the wrestling itself was fantastic, and also the high spots were really good. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins doing like it wasn't a doomsday device, but it was like Angelo had the opponent on his shoulders, and then Montez flew over them and hit like a net breaker. Really impressive, and got him incredibly close to the win. The near falls throughout were so close to the point where I thought the Street Profits were going to win on multiple occasions. But yeah, just an absolutely phenomenal matchup between the two, and the fact that Montez Ford's shoulder was up at the end of the match means that they can go and have another match. And I think a match that fit these two teams fantastically would be a ladder match. I feel like no pinfalls, anything like that, no shenanigans, and just a straight up awesome ladder match. I feel like these two teams will be brilliant in that kind of environment, and hopefully they go for that, because I would really look forward to it. And as you see on the screen, this was my match of the night. The women's Money in the Bank was very close, but I really got invested in the ending in this one, which is the reason why it got match of the night. So the next matchup was Ronda Rousey defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against Natalya. I'm going to be honest, I really did not enjoy this match. I'd go as far as to hating it. I really did not like this one at all. Throughout, constantly calling each other a bitch. Like constantly going for the ankle lock, both of them, using each other's submission finishes, and I didn't understand why these two had such a lack of chemistry as well, with Natalya training Ronda when she first started in WWE. But I think it just didn't make any sense why these two would have this match anyway. As I said, I know that Natalya is the heel, but with them being friends, as I said, there's a complete lack of chemistry. Constantly talking smack about each other, constantly calling each other bitches, constantly trying to get submissions. None of it flowed smoothly, and it was just really hard to watch. It was very easily to be distracted by going on my phone or something like that. Compared to the rest of the card, it just was not very good. The only kind of key points in the match, for me anyway, was when Ronda reversed the sharpshooter on the apron and put Natalya into the post. I thought that looked horrible, and I hope Natalya's okay on the back of her head. And also when Natalya hurt Ronda's knee, which would eventually come to bite her in the ass. But also during the match, Ronda seemed to have forgotten that she's the babyface, which looked completely stupid, with Ronda putting on the sharpshooter but doing a Shawn Michaels pose, which, if you know, as all wrestling fans know, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart hated each other, Montreal Screwjob, everything like that, you know, and it would make sense if Ronda was the heel and she did that, because it would provoke people and kind of provoke Natalya because of her association with the Hart family. But for Ronda to do it as the babyface just made no sense at all. If anything, I'm surprised she didn't get booed out the building for it. But yeah, it just looked just stupid on the part of Ronda Rousey, and it just didn't make any sense. But yeah, Ronda Rousey retains the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then after the match, Liv Morgan's music hits, and she runs down to the ring, cashes in Money in the Bank, and becomes the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And I do have to say, I am very happy for Liv Morgan, and she fully deserves to be champion. However, this kind of was the wrong decision, and not the fact that Liv should be champion, but cashing it in on the same night again for the women, it's just a bit annoying. I mean, I want to see Liv carry it around, you know, pretend to cash in, threaten to cash in, you know, this kind of thing, and instead they've got the woman again 5 times out of 6 cashing in on within the first 24 hours of winning the briefcase. And I don't know if it was a way to save the Ronda Rousey Natalya match if it wasn't going down well, or whether that was the original plan all along. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of it, though I enjoyed the moment. I like the fact that Liv won. It's nothing against her. It's just the decision of having them cash in so early on just doesn't make any sense to me, when they could have the women hold it. You know, that when Carmella had it for so long, it worked. It makes a lot of sense. You know, she used it whenever she needed to, and it was just good storyline wise. But nevertheless, what a great night for Liv Morgan. I hope she has a really good title run, though, you know, when we get what we want as fans, there's always that kind of skeptic side, which kind of always comes along with, you know, happy moments, and then they'll, you know, Charlotte Flair will come back and take the title from her. But I'm really hoping that doesn't happen with Liv, and she has a decent championship reign, and it keeps her in that main event spot. But I mean, yeah, Charlotte Flair is a good example of someone that she could face and retain against, and having that full circle moment when they had their kind of match in 2019 on SmackDown, where Liv knew she needed to change something, and she did, and she came back and she had this new gimmick, and you know, that's when the push began for Liv Morgan. So for her to defend against Charlotte, retain, just, as I said, it'd be a great full circle moment. But for now, I'm happy that Liv won. You know, I hope she has a good reign. I hope it all goes well. I am that bit skeptical. I know that she's probably going to face Ronda at SummerSlam, and I don't know whether they're going to have her pin Ronda again. You know, even Becky hasn't pinned Ronda twice, and neither has Charlotte. So I don't know whether they'll have some kind of shenanigan finish or something like that to help Liv get that win over Ronda Rousey. But for now, very happy with the result. Just not sure if I like the cash-in happening on the same night again. And finally, in the main event, Austin Theory defeated Riddle, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Omos, Sheamus and Sami Zayn and Madcap Moss in the Money in the Bank ladder match to become the new Mr. Money in the Bank. And before I get into the match itself, I just want to talk about Theory being added into this last minute, and I get how it comes in with the storyline of him being involved with Vince McMahon, and how Vince can just add him into the match if he wants to and that kind of thing. But I want to ask the question of, did he need to be added? And in my opinion, no, he didn't. He didn't need to be added at all. It baffles me how WWE feel like they have to quickly push Theory because of injuries. I know that having Cody out, Orton out, Big E out kind of stuff is frustrating and feels like they probably haven't got anyone. But they have plenty of superstars on the like Roman's level to be able to challenge him, so we don't have to have another Brock and Roman match, or just not have Roman matches at all. I think, there's wrestlers like AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, The Miz, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, all are on Roman's level, but yet they won't get pushed into that main event card. AJ Styles wasn't even on this show, and he's like lost in the shuffle. This is AJ Styles we're talking about, one of the best wrestlers in the world, and it just doesn't make sense how they can't push these people up, and how they feel like putting Theory into that main event scene quickly is the solution when they have plenty of people. I feel like having Theory as the United States champion is 100% the right place for him to be right now, so that he can beat some experienced high caliber superstars for the championship, and then he can move into the main event scene. But as I said, rushing into it now just seems like it's going to do more damage than it's worth, because if the fans now don't get behind him and it goes a bit stale, then they've wasted another good superstar on panicking. I know that Cody and Randy and Biggie being out is massively inconvenient, and they'll be added to that list when they're back, and they probably still won't get into that main event role. I mean, only Cody seems to be heading that way, and it's just a massive inconvenience that he got injured when he did. But I really didn't like this decision, and I think that having Rollins or McIntyre win would have been such a better idea. I mean, people have been all over the internet putting their own theories together to do with McIntyre and Rollins, and I know that WWE don't listen to all the online people, myself, other YouTubers, but it just made perfect sense to have one of those two in it compared to adding Theory last minute. And I know a lot of backlash has come from it, and it's not a terrible decision. I just don't want it to kind of get to a point where no one does get behind Theory and it's a waste of time, and someone else could have won this match who was better off. But I hope it works out, but I just can't see it going that way, unfortunately. But as for the match itself, I thought it was a decent Money in the Bank ladder match. Apart from the result itself, there was no complaints from me. The whole field taking out Omos made perfect sense, and it was to be expected, really. I kind of knew they'd do that going into it. The ladder spots that they had were really good. I mean, Madcap Moss being added on SmackDown, he was just there. I don't think anyone had any money on him winning, and he didn't really do a lot during the match either. I think Drew McIntyre and Sheamus control the match for the most part, and it's with Butch getting involved, I feel like going into SummerSlam we're going to have a renewed rivalry between McIntyre and Sheamus to take McIntyre along to after SummerSlam, where we can start going with Roman and possibly going for the title at Clash at the Castle, or at least it seems to be going that way anyway. I think it was a really good ladder match. I did prefer the women's match out of the two, but either way, apart from the result, I thought this was really good. So those are my thoughts and opinions on 2022's Money in the Bank. I was in the match of the night with the Usos versus Street Profits, and do comment down below what you thought of the pay-per-view and what you thought the match of the night was. Obviously I will log that into the book towards the end of the year, but for now I will ask you to do the usual YouTube stuff. Notification bell, subscribe, like, comment. Do give me some feedback, anything that you think I could do better, any video ideas that I could do, anything like that, do let me know, and I will see you guys later on.